Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some from scratch meal ideas that are perfect for summer when we've got lots of fresh veggies and we're looking to do a little bit less cooking, at least in the kitchen, maybe some more grilling just to help keep the kitchen cool. The first meal I'm starting out with is perfect for meal prep if you're somebody that likes a heartier salad for lunches. This holds up really well in the fridge and it doesn't require a whole lot of cooking, minus the quinoa. I am making a quinoa, beet, and chickpea salad. This is going to utilize a couple pints from our canning pantry. I have some chickpeas and some canned beets. Of course, you can always substitute in store-bought versions. Fresh beets can also be used in place of the canned if you've got them coming in from the garden, but you definitely would want to cook them, either roast them or steam them. Either way would work great. So while I have that quinoa cooking, I am prepping some of the other ingredients for my salad. I'm chopping some fresh basil from the garden, and I'm also cutting those canned beets into smaller pieces and adding that all to a bowl along with some pumpkin seeds. Walnuts or sunflower seeds also work really great here. Now I'm prepping the quinoa salad a little bit earlier in the day because I know that the quinoa is going to have to cool and I had some other things that I needed to get to. So once the quinoa was cool, I came back and added it to the bowl along with the rest of the fixings. I like to do some yellow onion in the salad as well, and I had some prepped and ready to go in the fridge, so that's what I'm using. Feta cheese goes so well with beets, so I had to add some of that in. And for the dressing, I did it the lazy way and just added everything right into the bowl. I'm using some white wine vinegar, olive oil, just a little bit of maple syrup for sweetness, and I seasoned this with some sea salt and pepper. Stir that all together, and this is one of those things that just gets better the longer that it sits. So it makes for a great summer meal for a cold dinner option or perfect for lunches since it holds up so well in the fridge. Frittatas are always a staple for us. They're a great way to use up eggs and something that are often on our weekend rotation or that I like to do as meal prep for the week. We have a bit coming in from the garden, but we are definitely behind on some things, and for that reason, I am super grateful that where we live, we have access to a ton of small farms, and one that even delivers to your door. So what I have lacking in the garden, I can still get fresh from local growers, so a veggie packed frittata was in order. Today is going to be filled with zucchini and rainbow chard, so I am dicing up that zucchini and thinly slicing the rainbow chard. Once my cast iron skillet was nice and hot, I added in some butter. When I'm doing a frittata in cast iron, I do like to make sure that the pan is well greased so that I can avoid any sticking. I'm starting out with sauteing that zucchini. I'm also adding in some sliced onion that I had left over in the fridge that I had to use up. I didn't even bother chopping it smaller, just straight into the pan with the stems of the Swiss chard. I'm going to leave that for a few minutes to saute and start to develop a little bit of color, and I am keeping it really simple with seasoning, just adding in a little bit of sea salt and pepper. You can also add in sun-dried tomatoes here. That is a great flavor combination with everything else that I'm using. While that's cooking, I'm getting my eggs together. For my size cast iron skillet, I like to do 8 eggs for a frittata. So just cracking those in a bowl, whisking together, and those will get poured over the veggies once they are ready. Once those veggies have softened, I'm adding in the Swiss chard and allowing that to cook for just another minute and then pouring the eggs over top. This is so good with some goat cheese, but I did not have any on hand today, so I'm using a little bit of feta that I needed to use up. While that pan is sitting on the element, the bottom will cook a little bit and then it just gets transferred to the oven to finish cooking for just a few minutes until it's set. I love frittatas like this that are packed with veggies. They have so much flavor, and I love to top it off with some of my home canned tomato jam. It just makes for the perfect summer breakfast. A summer staple for us is salad rolls. I love salad rolls, particularly in the summer months when there are plenty of fresh veggies, and I've been making these pretty much weekly. Lately, I've been doing them with pork as the protein, and typically I will use pork chops. We have an abundance of pork chops from the pigs that we raised last year. And when we first started raising pigs, I had no idea at all how many pork chops we would get back, and it is a lot. So we have tons to use up, and this is just another great way to use them. The marinade I use for these is super simple. Today I only had time to marinate for probably about half an hour, but the longer the better. And I am marinating in a mixture of tamari, plenty of rice vinegar, along with a little bit of honey and a good dose of chili flakes. I often will cook these up in a cast iron skillet, but we are grilling these tonight instead just to keep the kitchen cool. While the pork was grilling, I worked on some veggies for the salad rolls, and these are the perfect way to use up what you've got on hand. I always like to include lettuce, bell peppers, and carrots. Typically, I do cucumber as well, but I didn't have any on hand today. Sprouts are great too. Today I am adding a little bit of thinly sliced radish as well, and fresh herbs are always a must. Typically I do green onions or chives and some cilantro, but basil and mint are also great in these. And the most time-consuming part of making these is probably just chopping up the veggies, but once you have that done, they come together pretty quickly. Sometimes I'll add in vermicelli rice noodles if you want to bulk them up a little bit, but I just don't find them entirely necessary. We always need some sort of dip with these, and sometimes I do a mix of rice vinegar, honey, tamari, and lime juice with some sriracha, so very similar to the pork marinade, but today we are doing peanut sauce. This recipe makes a pretty big batch, so we have lots left over for future meals or the next time that I make salad rolls. Of course, for peanut sauce, I'm going to start out with peanut butter, and I do like to add in hot water to thin it out a little bit, just makes it so the end result isn't so heavy and perfect for dipping. To sweeten it just a bit, I use maple syrup, but honey also works. Of course, we need some tamari, and I do like to add in a little bit of sesame oil as well. Fresh ginger and garlic is best, but I honestly couldn't be bothered today, so ground it is, and typically I just measure those with my heart along with the sriracha. Mix that all together and you've got the perfect dip for the salad rolls. Once those pork chops were off the grill and had cooled some, I got them sliced. I like to slice them really thin, and the combination of grilling and the marinade just makes these so good. This pork is also just great on a rice bowl. Once I have all my fillings ready to go, it is time for assembly. I like to use a pie plate with room temperature water, and I soak the rice paper for maybe 10 seconds. You really don't want to soak them too long or they begin to tear really easily. I like to start out with some lettuce, that way if the wrap does tear at all, it helps to hold them together a little bit. And I just layer in the veggies and herbs along with the meat, and these are ready to roll up. These are such a favorite of ours, and they make such good leftovers. Anytime I make these, I always try to make extra for lunches the next day. Now we are down to only whole chickens left in our freezer from the meat birds that we raised last year. I don't have any left that are parted out, and I wanted to try grilling a spatchcock chicken today because I have not done that before. If you're not familiar with this method, it just calls for cutting out the backbone, and once you have it removed, you place the chicken breast side up and press down on the breast to break the bone so that it will lay flat, and this allows the chicken to cook a lot faster. I often will do this in the winter and roast it in the oven, but again, we are having hot summer weather and I did not want to turn on the oven for that long. So this was my first attempt at cooking one up on the grill, and it is something that I will definitely do again. I think that this is going to become a summer weekly staple. Now for seasonings, I kept this super simple. I drizzled it with a little bit of olive oil and I seasoned it with plenty of smoked paprika and some kosher salt. Just rub that in and it was ready for the grill. This turned out so flavorful and super easy, just a great way to cook up a whole chicken without turning on the oven in the summer months. Now, I could not be bothered to do a whole lot of cooking this day, so I am chopping up a ton of carrots, and that's what we're going to have as our side, and I'm going to cook these up on the barbecue in a cast iron skillet as well. Once I had those carrots all prepped and ready to go, I just drizzled them with a little bit of olive oil, and I'm seasoning these well with some black pepper and some sea salt. I'm also adding in the juice of half a lemon. You could, again, mix all of the ingredients for this dressing in a separate bowl, but I just can't be bothered to create more dishes. So I'm adding that lemon juice directly over the carrots, and I'm also going to add in a little bit of Dijon mustard as well as a little bit of honey, and I just mix those all together, and I'm going to set that aside until the chicken has cooked a little bit, and then the cast iron skillet is going to go directly onto the grill for the carrots to cook while the chicken finishes up. I really don't handle the barbecue much, that is my husband's domain, but once the grill was nice and hot, the spatchcock chicken goes onto the grill breast side down for about 10 minutes or so just to get that skin nice and crisp. After flipping the chicken, I allow that to cook for probably about another 20 minutes or so before adding in the cast iron skillet with the carrots, just trying to time these pretty well so the carrots don't end up overcooked, and then it's just leaving it be. This turned out so well. The chicken has so much flavor and the carrots turned out perfectly. Now, once those carrots are done cooking, I had to add plenty of fresh chopped dill from the garden, and I also added a little bit of feta cheese on top as well. That wraps up today's video. Thank you for joining me as I share some meals from our kitchen that we've been enjoying this summer. I hope it's been a wonderful one for you so far and that you're enjoying all the fresh veggies from the garden or local farms. It is my favorite time of year as far as food goes. I'll see you in the next video.